What's up, Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Games Live right here on twitch.tv/MVPvids or MVP Entertainment. I am joined, as I always am, by my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin.
Hey, everybody.
And Soapy's like sitting there before in the pre-show talking about how people can't see him, and soon you guys will be able to see Soapy's beautiful face. And then, hey, then it really
air quotes
means
around beautiful.
When I
or like fucking gremlin-esque.
we all are beautiful co-hosts. I'm a beautiful co-host. You're a beautiful co-host. Dave is a beautiful co-host. We're all
when
beautiful.
People see this ugly-ass gremlin sitting there like, and then they fucking see that, everyone's gonna be like, yeah, no, we ain't watching this no more.
Like this? You got a little hunchback going on?
That's what I'm gonna have to do, because the only other chair...
Oh, that hurts. That hurts to do that.
Yeah, the only chair that is anywhere in my house that would work good for that is I have to basically do that.
Yeah, you're tall, though. But thank you for checking out MVP Games Live. If you're sitting there going, what the fuck is this? This is where we talk about gaming news and everything going on in the gaming world. Today, we got a jam-packed show talking about New World, talking about PlayStation, talking about Epic versus Apple. But before we get into all of that, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Number one, join the Discord if you have not already. It's a place for all the real MVPs to get in one spot to talk to each other, fans, patrons, the boys, which is us. Soapy and I are the boys, with Dave included. All in there talking about the things we love, sports, non-sports. Link, thank you to this guy, ! Discord, gets it in the Twitch chat. It's there right now. If you're on YouTube, boom, it's down below in the description already for you. That link gets you in. Come and join. Have a good time. Also, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you help support the channel. And thank you to our Patreon producers, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. And like I mentioned, we do the show every day, Monday through Friday on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids. And we also put them on YouTube, MVP Entertainment. So if you ever miss a show live, boom, you can check out the VOD on YouTube. But Soapy, let's get into what we're talking about today. And that would be, we're starting off with a game that this is actually a Dave request. As I had my sound on, so you heard a little bit of the video I pulled up that I'm going to have playing down below me. But Soaps, we've got a little bit of a game, an MMO that was released to us. The first trailer came out at the Game Awards 2019. And I remember seeing it going, holy shit, this actually looks like a good trailer. Looks like a game I might want to play. However, New World, since getting hands on it and people playing it, I personally have not heard many good things. I watched Force Gaming did a video. He didn't really like it. Talking to Dave before the show today, he didn't really like it. Soapy, I will ask you this, based off of what it does, because it's got a good presence that basically you're a warrior or a soldier or a hero that is kind of put into this world. It's a world with kind of like a magical influence about it. And then it kind of seemed like from the trailer, you can kind of choose whether it's good or bad. It has like 50 on 50 or 60 on 60 PvP mode, with some non-PvP modes put in also. I will ask you though, what are your first impressions after watching some gameplay of New World? And then answering the question, is this MMO going to be worth it, or will it be another dud that basically, hey, it was here and it's gone?
Yeah. I do want to make a little slight correction to what you said.
Go ahead.
Dave was skeptical about it. It wasn't so much that like he said it wasn't
skeptical. Good. You're right. He was, but still, it wasn't like a raving review from Dave where it was like oh my God, we got to play this. That is Among Us. That he is raving about right now. But like, it still goes into the fact of like, not many people I have heard are talking up this game and basically being, oh my God, it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, and I mean, and it doesn't surprise me with that, and it's because the fact of it's an MMO.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things is MMOs are such a hard market to hit people with, because obviously it's at one point it was a oversaturated market and people have been burned on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for instance, like, if you think about it, like, basically, during, like, a short period of time, I think it's, like, from 2009
Mm-hmm.
to, like, 2015, I may have the time frame off. It was, like, every few months, MMO. Like, everyone was releasing one, and it's,
It
like...
was WoW hit it big, and now it's like WoW. I think is like I think of as the big MMO, where it's like now every MMO that comes out, it's like, oh my god, could this be the WoW killer? And really, the only MMO, it's not the only, but the biggest one to kind of stand the test of time has been World of Warcraft, where, like you said, MMO, but they've been going strong since 2004. Like, and that's what I feel like. It's a hard genre to not just get into, but to have a long window in, to where like the 15-year windows are not the usual windows.
Yeah, and especially because it's one of those things that, once again, with MMOs, it's kind of the same problem right now with a lot of genres of games of, like, it's tried to reinvent the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people, like, it's basically Blizzard rolled out the old wheel.
Yeah.
And we're just like, all right, here we go. We're just going to, like, slap a sprinkle on the old wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, wow, dude, that's a really cool fucking wheel. Like, everyone's like, wow, that's a really cool wheel. And then some people try to spice it up too much and come out with, like, a rectangle, and they're like, bad wheel, bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seeing stuff like that, right now, it's honestly, it doesn't surprise me that this game's not doing super well. And I mean, it's not like, oh, like, I'm wanting the game to die or anything. It's just knowing the burnout that has happened with MOBAs and how so many people are burned by them.
Yeah.
Because the fact of, like, we've had so many we've had so many MMOs. Yeah, we've had so many MMOs come out over the years that we're just like, can we stop? Like, can we just stick to the tried and true fucking World of Warcraft, Star Wars, and RuneScape?
Yeah, and like the thing I'm gonna piggyback off that is this guy in Twitch chat brings up Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, but because he says that
No, it's not Knights of the Republic. It's Star Wars: The Old Republic.
The Old Republic. He says that it still has over 100K users a day or something that he heard, but it's not the like 1.4 million users of World of Warcraft. And that game, The Old Republic, was released in 2012. Yeah, this guy, Soapy, corrected me. I was never a Knights of the Old Republic or a The Old Republic kind of guy. So, like, the acronyms I'm going to fuck up every now or then. Soapy was there to catch me, though. But the thing with WoW and Star Wars that I will bring up in that case is WoW and Star Wars didn't need to sell people on the lore behind it. Because for Star Wars, you had movies, comics, I believe that, other games before basically 2012 where people were invested in Star Wars. Same thing with Warcraft, where you had Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3. You've had these characters and stories kind of already established to where it's basically like, oh, you're jumping into this world of something you already love. Where I feel like with New World, that's one of the things for me, because yet again, you and I have not played the game. I believe it's an early alpha, or it was an early alpha. All the things that I've been seeing from it are like basically just certain influencers have been able to play it, Asmongold being one of the big ones. But I think the biggest thing that stands in the way of New World for me is the lore behind it. Because like I said, when I watched the trailer at Game Awards last year, I remember saying to myself, oh, that seems cool. That seems like a cool concept. It seems like a cool story. But the thing with MMOs is it's not like The Last of Us, where it's a linear story and that's all I'm doing. Where since it's a branching world, you have to sell me on that lore. And if I don't already have a love with the world and you don't bring me in and say, boom, I love the world already, then you're going to have a problem there getting me as a player invested in your game.
Yeah, and that's something that, like I was saying before, it's MMO struggle to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is like obviously you can have like a super extensive background, you can have this like interesting lore.
Yeah.
If the players don't want to explore it,
Mm-hmm.
nothing's ever gonna come from it.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, like, and I can actually find this connect to something that I like
Go
with
ahead.
D&D.
Yeah.
It's like certain D&D like modules, they're good modules, but like a lot of people are just like, dude, I don't care about the lore.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to do the adventure.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of the weird mix that an MMO has to find the balance for,
Mm-hmm.
of where it's, oh, you obviously introduce people to the world so they feel like they're involved in it, but don't try to ham fist it in so much of where it's like, okay, cool. We don't care if you actually like the game, just listen to basically our interactive storybook.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why it's like the thing of like creating your own character in this universe. Like, you're a random person that basically washes up on the shore. I like that part of it than rather like, no, you get to play this person and we're already giving you. It's like, that's what an MMO is. Like for World of Warcraft, what I play, um, I know I don't go in it with this route, but like some people do, where, for example, I play a paladin, I play a druid. My name is Brunsta. I'm a paladin druid, and of course, you may laugh, Soapy, because that's where I got the inspiration for my first D&D character, my WoW character. But like, you're creating your own character, so I'm like, cool. But like, so far, the lore from everything I watched hasn't drawn me in like it did on the trailer. And even like watching the combat to me just it because I'm looking at it now and like the way I want to say is there's a part of me that thinks, and of course this could be because the guy I'm watching right now is using like a melee character with a sword and shield. It just looks very hack and slash kind of MMO where it's almost like, and right now he's running around and it's like, where's the direction of things? Where do we go? And with MMOs, if you want to be successful, the thing that helps an MMO most is word of mouth. People playing it, people saying, "Oh, this is cool." How did I get into World of Warcraft, Soapy? Dave, hey, you got to play this game. I played it for an hour. Shit, I'm gonna buy it. Boom. There's about a decade or so more of my life that I will never get back. Probably or more. Yeah, about 15 years because I've been there since part of the beginning. What, 2004, 2005? So what, about, yeah, 2005. So about half of my life now. Thanks, Dave. But it's been a great ride playing WoW. But like, that's the thing with New World right now is even watching the gameplay and watching people play the game, it doesn't make me go, holy shit, I have to play this MMO.
Yeah, and especially, I think it's one of those things of right now, I think it's more or less they're just trying to get eyes on their game by obviously giving it to people like Gold and like other influencers.
Yeah.
Obviously, is it worrying that really the only thing we've heard them say is like, it's okay, it just has problems? A little bit, but once again, if it's still an alpha, it's kind of expected. But it's also, I think they should have realized that if it does have this many problems, and if like and if streamers or people with large platforms are saying to them like, hey, like, yeah, this game has a cool concept, but there's flaws to it, there are people who are just going to write it off and never look at it again.
Yeah, and
that's something that.
And I just want to jump in really quick to give you a frame of mind. This was a game that, so we got the trailer, Game Awards 2019, so I'm end of the year last year. It was set to release now, August of 2020, so we should have already been playing this game. But then, well, it was supposed to release in May 2020, then got delayed to now, and now it's been delayed to early 2021. So it like that alone even should like it tells me of like, yeah, you're technically an early alpha, but there's a reason why it's been delayed, right? Question mark.
Yeah. And that's the thing that also that's why I always hate when games when they basically say, "Oh, it's coming out this day," because like obviously a lot of like AAA titles they're going to be able to get the game out by then.
Yeah.
Crunch or crunch not, it do not matter. The game's coming out. But with like smaller studios, it's it just bothers me when MMOs especially do it, because MMOs take so much work that people don't realize that somehow you have to get it. That let's say your player base first day is 200,000 people. That's really fucking bad for a game.
Yeah.
If that's your launch day, you have to make sure that everything in that game can handle that many players being in the game at the same time. And in all these other things like that, of where it's, can this game handle it? Can this game possibly even run it? What is the late game content? Is it balanced? Is everything in between start and end worth playing? That type of stuff is something that I've always said with MMOs. Don't slap a release date on it unless you are damn near done with it.
Yeah. And like the other thing I even think about with that is you bring up then the like AAAs can get it out. It's also interesting because of who is developing this game. This game is being developed by Amazon. The developer is Amazon Game Studios, Orange County. The publisher is Amazon Game Studios. So this is an Amazon game. And it's even using an Amazon engine. It's using Amazon Lumberyard, which I believe is fairly new. So it's like there's a part of me also that sits here and goes, is this just is this just Amazon trying to get their foot into the MMO world? And that's why the game is kind of hit or miss, because it's not one of like, that would be my main question behind it, because some of the like, I don't even want to say indies, but like smaller studios, there's a sense of like, is this game a big game? No, but it's not a bad game because of the fact that you get the, hey, I can tell whoever made this game likes it, like loves video games, and I can take a sense of the appreciation for the love that was put in it. And I'm not saying the people working on this game, working for Amazon, don't feel that way. I'm just saying, is this going to be a situation of big boy Amazon Game Studio trying to get into the MMO world, and that's why it feels a little flat? Because you might be sitting there going, Amazon, you don't have to do it all. You don't like, it's okay. Like, you got your own game studio, but guys, don't worry. You don't have to have your foot in everything. Should that even be a worry? Because I know like Amazon's game studio has been around. It says here like it was founded in 2012. So it's been around for 8 years, but because it's being developed by Amazon, should that worry people? Because like the last few games Amazon has developed, Crucible, which was Relentless Studios, Grand Tour game, Dragon's Lair, which was a Twitch extension, Till Morning's Light, Lost Within, Sev Zero, Tales from Deep Space, Too Few Fury. Like, should that be a worry that, oh, that's why this is falling flat, because it's an Amazon Game Studio game?
I think there's a very strong chance of like, I'd say that's something that needs to be considered. Especially because if they're stepping into something they've never done before,
yeah,
they really need to take this low and slow, because this will be in first impressions. Obviously, I don't think this is the first game they've ever launched. But when you start dipping your toes into games the size of New World, you really need to be careful, because first impressions matter and everything. And I think it's something that, if not done, I don't want to say properly. I'm trying to find the words for it. It's more or less of just, the words I'm trying to find are, hey, maybe, just maybe, we should make sure that we put our best effort forward and don't try to pull the same type of thing that we may see like a company like EA be able to pull. Because EA has pull and the influence of like, hey, EA can basically half-ass a game and people will still buy it. With us, it won't be the same. And I really hope that other people don't try to follow that business model, because they will realize very quickly
Mm-hmm.
it only works for like EA and stuff like that because they are so established that like they can fuck up a game and they won't feel it.
And this guy makes a good point that I didn't think about earlier is he goes, first delay is on them. So the May to August is on them. The August to 2021 is probably on COVID. Good point. But he also says, in his opinion, the more game studios and developers there are, the better. As we are likely to find an amazing game that might not happen with less studios, and the less risks that are going to be taken. And like, I agree with that. I should probably rephrase how I said it before. It's not like Amazon shouldn't make games, but it's like I almost get a feeling of like Amazon being the big corporation that's like the love isn't there. Like because that's the thing with like many of the game studios, you get the kind of love for making the game, the passion projects, and like it's great to have more studios. You don't want to have a monopoly, but I wonder with this one if it's just Amazon, because even the studio, like I said, it's technically Double Helix that's developing it, but Double Helix bought by Amazon, and now it's an Amazon company, Amazon Game Studio, Orange County. So it's like, I don't know. This one I thought I was going to come into this being like, holy shit, like this is going to be a good MMO, and it's great to see another MMO out there, but so far it's like time will only tell. We'll see if this one I don't think it gets delayed again, but they're kind of in the crunch time where it's like, okay, we got to make sure we do the press right. We do because right now, like Force Gaming, he has a video out there where he's not giving you really good press. And like, if you're putting it out there and influencers are going, hey, I didn't really have a good time with this, that is where we live now, where the word of mouth isn't just your friends who you talk to in person. Word of mouth is, hey, I am going to go to my favorite YouTuber. I am going to go to my favorite influencer, and I'm going to get the word from them. Like Madden. I might not buy Madden this year because like I've heard you and Sean talk about it, and I know you guys are like, well, buy Madden. It's Madden. It's never going to change. But like I went out and watched some videos of like, okay, how is it different this year? And I don't know, maybe it's not speaking to me. It's not like I'm not saying I'm not going to get it, but I probably won't now because of everything I've watched about it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it, of like, we're going to have to wait and see how this goes. But right now it's kind of stumbling out of the gates for me. Soapy, is there anything else that you think you need to add to New World before we go ahead and move on?
No.
Okay. The next two things we're kind of just going to package together. So on YouTube, this is just going to be a rock block of PlayStation news. So yet again, if you're on YouTube, you jump to this point because you're like, oh, cool, I want to get to the PlayStation news. This is going to be kind of like two newses, or two newses, put together. Soapy, the very first one, this comes from Polygon.com, written by Michael McWhorter. It says this: Sony's next-gen PlayStation, the PS5, will feature some level of backwards compatibility with PS4 games, but PlayStation 5 owners may not get the full 25 years of backwards compatibility they may be dreaming of. According to a support FAQ on Ubisoft's website, the PS5 will not be backwards compatible with the original PlayStation, PlayStation 2, or PlayStation 3 games. Sony has never promised backwards compatibility for PlayStation, PS2, and PS3 on PS5, but reports from July speculated about the possibility of wide-ranging backwards compatibility on PlayStation 5, playable from a cloud-based game library. Those reports were based on patent filings in Japan, not something that Sony announced. So really, Soapy, with this one, it's just, should Sony make the PS5 backwards compatible for PlayStation 1, 2, and 3? Or is it not a big deal if it's, hey, you can only go back to PlayStation 4. You can't go back to anything before that.
I mean, honestly, for me, I just view it as if you want to play like PS3, PS2, and PS1 games, just buy that console.
Because you can get like a dirt cheap. Well, I don't even know. Would it be a dirt cheap one because of how old they are? Or would people be
the
like,
whole
hey,
thing is that. Oh no, I was just gonna say that like the reason why I'm saying it's just easier to do that is because with the PlayStation 2, those things are literally dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Because so many of them were produced, and it's like, and most people still have their old PlayStation. Like, I'm just trying to figure out how to explain it. It's right now. I personally don't care for backwards compatibility. It's like, just if you had the console from before, don't just fucking throw it away. You can keep it.
Yeah.
And then if you ever want to play a game on it again, just go back to that console.
Yeah, I mean, of course, doing things like that, like there are some certain situations where it's like, hey, I used to have it as a kid, but my parents threw it away, type of situation. And this guy says he looked into buying a PS2 and it's not as cheap as you would think it is. And that's the thing of like cloud. I feel like we're at a point now where PlayStation should be able to do, when we say backwards compatibility, there should be like, and yet again, Xbox is doing this. PlayStation could as well, where it's like, hey, we're going to have I don't want to call it like a legacy pass, but you can call it like a legacy library, where it's like, if you have PlayStation, you can include it in PlayStation Plus, even though PlayStation Plus, you have to play online. You can include it in PlayStation Plus, where it's like, okay, if you have a PlayStation 5, you have a PlayStation Plus, with that, you get access to the legacy library that has, and you can even have the big games where it's like, we have the biggest games from PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, like maybe just 1, 2, and 3, maybe add 4 like towards the end of the PS5 life cycle, to where you can have these games, make them cloud-based, because that's kind of, it kind of seems like that's where we're headed in gaming. A lot of cloud-based stuff. Like, I even think to, well, we've talked about with Xbox, with the Game Pass, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Soapy, you can play Xbox One games through Game Pass. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I would almost take a page from Microsoft book there and say, okay, we're going to do the same thing. That's going to be our backwards compatibility, because like, of course, I'm not expecting to, I have my PS2 game here. I want to put it in there, because yet again, what if I want backwards compatibility, but I don't want the PS5 with the disc thing on it? I want a discless, the digital version of the PS5. Like, that's something too that they could do if they want to do, hey, backwards compatibility. But yet again, what do they want to put in the PS5 mechanically to make sure it can do that?
Yeah, and that's something that, like, personally for me, I don't really care for backwards compatibility. Like, it's a cool concept, but personally for me, I'd rather see it like they push forward more new titles rather than being like, hey, remember this game when you played when you were a kid? Here it is again. Please buy our console, please. Like, for me, I don't, like, I'm not saying like backwards compatibility is bad. I think it's just one of those things of where I don't think it's a big deal if it doesn't have it. Because, for instance, they may want like the PS5's launch to focus entirely on the games coming out, not games that have been out for 5+ years.
Yeah.
So,
and do you think then? Last thing I'm going to ask about, I'm going to slide this in there, and you can kind of tack this onto the last of your thing is, do they add backwards compatibility after like a year or two? Is it something they can add after the PlayStation's already come out?
I think they will. And the reason I think that is just because it's one of those things that right now, especially with the fact of we know a lot of the games that are going to be coming out for for PS5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think right now it's get everyone wanting those games. Don't have them so much focusing on like, hey, there was this game from my childhood that I want to play again. It's like, once again, a lot of people do keep the consoles they had
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know. I mean, obviously there may be some parents out there they're like they buy one console and they're just like, all right, cool, time to throw away the other one.
Yeah.
Mine never did.
Yeah.
I still have. If my PlayStation never got sold, I'd still have it
Mm-hmm.
because I have basically every console that our household has ever owned, besides my PS2, because mine got sold because my brother fucking got rid of it,
Yeah.
and now I'm still mad about it.
Yeah, and I mean, but not, and I say that because just different households are different. Some people are different where mom or dad go, well, you don't need this anymore. And whether or not you say I'm going to keep it, some households, like I said, are different. I do want to kind of slide over into the next two things that are very closely related. Both of these coming from Video Game Chronicle, VGC.com. PlayStation plans to accelerate the rollout of first-party games. This is the first article. It says, in a report on Friday, the firm said more frequent and higher quality exclusive titles will be key to its future success and increased competition in the marketplace. Competition from online PC games and players from other industries is expected to continue and intensify, the company wrote. In order to continue growing the PlayStation business, Sony Interactive Entertainment intends to make proactive investments to reinforce content IP and work to raise brand value, foster communities, and user engagement, while enhancing direct-to-consumer services and get closer to the users. Sony continued to reinforce content IP. Sony Interactive Entertainment will accelerate the enhancement and rollout of its portfolio of exclusive PlayStation titles. There's also another article from Video Game Chronicle that says this: Sony has signaled it's open to purchasing more game companies to bolster its PlayStation Studios roster. In the firm's latest corporate report published on Friday, it emphasized the importance of first-party titles for the future growth of the game's business and said it plans to accelerate the release of its exclusive games. In addition to improving the personnel and work environment in its own studio, Sony Interactive Entertainment continues to invest in or acquire firms with abundant creativity and cutting-edge technologies to build up worldwide studios. An association of first-party title production studios, it said. As of May 31st, 2020, Worldwide Studios owns 14 studios and has become one of the world's leading game developer networks, it added. With hit series like The Last of Us, God of War, and Uncharted, it is a strong engine for content IP production. PlayStation's latest purchase was the acquisition of Spider-Man studio Insomniac Games in August of 2019, following a 20-year relationship with the studio. Soapy, what are your thoughts on this, where it seems like PlayStation not only doubling down and trying to accelerate the, hey, we're going for all the exclusives we can get, but that they're looking to, hey, we are looking to buy out studios and bring them onto the PlayStation studios, much like they did with Insomniac in 2019?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It's the more that you can lock down companies, the more that it gets so you basically have free reign over that type of market.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for instance, it's basically when you look at what they with Insomniac, with them purchasing them, they instantly will always, for eternity, as long as Insomniac is able to keep their door open,
Mm-hmm.
have their foot in the superhero gaming.
Yeah.
It's with with Naughty Dog, they basically have their foot in the storytelling games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that they do a lot. And also, it's like this guy said, the more studios they own, the less studios Microsoft is getting games from.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't surprise me they're going out and buying studios,
Mm-hmm.
especially because it's like that's how you keep exclusives. AKA Microsoft, please take fucking note.
The thing that I didn't know if you had more to add there. That's why I was like, I paused for a little bit. The other thing I want to throw in here that I didn't have on our sheet, but it kind of plays into this, and I won't read a lot of it. I'll just read the headline soaps, is basically the fact, I'm going to check my connection really quick. That is good. Basically the fact of Sony confirms it will explore more PC ports of PlayStation exclusives. And that goes into what you said, what this guy said of they're not just looking to gain studios. They're looking to say, hey, we're going to gain studios, but also we're going to get a lot more PC ports, meaning our like for me thinking forward, what would really screw over Microsoft, and I hate thinking like this because like the console war thing, but it's a thing. You want to outsell your competitor. What would it be like for Microsoft if PlayStation was like, all right, Spider-Man, it's on PlayStation, we're porting it to PC. Last of Us, we're porting it to PC. All these big exclusives that we have, we're going to go ahead and port them to PC as well, because kind of the PC thing has always been Microsoft's jam, where it's like Microsoft is a computer company, so that means, hey, I can go ahead and basically play my, like, I can play my game on PC. I don't necessarily need an Xbox, but let's say I like an Xbox. Is that going to be something that hurts PlayStation, though? By porting more games to PC, is this basically PlayStation flexing a little bit too much of the fact of, hey, our users are going to stay? Where will there be PlayStation users that go, oh, wait, I can get that exclusive on PC? Looks like I don't have to buy my PlayStation.
Wow, it's almost like Sony's about to do the same fuck up Microsoft did. Wow! Look at that!
And the exact quote, I'm going to have the exact quote here for context. In its latest corporate report published on Friday, the company said its games division would continue to aim to increase active users and playtime, enhancing network services and reinforcing content IP. It added, targeted outcomes include growth in active users, stronger retention, and a stronger cash conversion cycle from which expanded cash flow can be expected. We will explore expanding our first-party titles to the PC platform in order to promote further growth in our profitability. And then it says, as of Horizon, former PS4 games exclusive Death Stranding and Detroit Become Human are also released on PC this summer after their exclusivity deals expired. So you think this is a mistake?
Yes, because you're going to start slowly repeating the same process Microsoft has done, because this is how Microsoft started it. And then at some point, when they realize waiting that whole year isn't going to make them as much money as launching it directly on PC, they're going to make the same exact mistake. That it's going to be on PC right away. It's going to go, like, they're going to start trying to branch into the same thing Microsoft's doing. And then you'll be in the same fucking boat as me of why buy a goddamn PlayStation I could just buy it on PC.
Here's the difference, though, and I agree with this guy, is I think the difference is going to be there's still going to be a gap of exclusivity where it'll come out on PlayStation first. I don't know if I agree totally with this guy where he says it's about a year. Because that's what they did, like I said, with Horizon, Death Stranding, and Detroit Become Human. But is it just, hey, we're going to do that with more of our games? They're going to come to PC, but it's going to be a year after they release, where, I'll be honest, I'm still buying a PlayStation if it means I get to play Spider-Man the day it comes out, rather than a year after it comes out. Like, to me, that's the big thing of when would it come out on PC. If it's coming out the same exact date on both, bad move by PlayStation. Because there will be people that say, fuck it, I could just play it on PC. But I kind of lean more towards it's going to be exclusive to PlayStation at first. Just how long is that exclusivity? How long do PC people have to wait? Because there will be people that do wait because they're not going to buy a PlayStation. But the people who are hardcore PlayStation people are still going to buy a PlayStation rather than wait for it a year later to come out on PC.
Yeah, it's something though that, like I was saying, it's the same style Microsoft started doing. Not because Microsoft started off as it's exclusive for this amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Did they ever do it a year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They did that for a while.
Okay.
And because that's when they first started, like, it wasn't so much with, like, their own, like, special brand. Because, for instance, it took, like, fucking 17-something years for Halo to get to PC.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, with their own special games, like, with, for instance, like, State of Decay. State of Decay was on console for a year, then it went to PC.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing the same thing back then as Sony is getting ready to do. And my whole thing is, though, you can wait a year for a game to come out. It's Sony's problem is we have seen their PC ports suck ass.
Good point.
Like, this is the thing. If they are going to port PC games, the problem is, basically, damn near that whole year, you better be getting ready to get that PC port working, unless you want every game you release on PC to flop. Because that's why Arkham Knight sucked on PC. That's why a lot of games that are ported to PC suck.
Mm-hmm.
Because people just kind of, they're just like, here we go. Have the game.
Well, and I would hope that if you're looking to port more games to PC, that would mean you're going to be like, hey, we got to make them better. But that's just my wrinkle brain here trying to use logic and shit.
Yeah, and game companies don't use that. They just basically think with money, not their brain.
Yeah, good point. I mean, it's going to be interesting. The other idea I kind of came up with is, and this is kind of a thing to like keep the money in house, is do they do a thing that Epic did where if you want to play a PlayStation exclusive on the computer, boom, you got to have the PlayStation Store. It's a computer app now.
That would absolutely kill them on PC.
Kind of like Steam, kind of like Epic, to where it's like, if you want to play Spider-Man, you got to have the PlayStation.
It would kill them.
One.
And it's simply because, yes, because then you are, like, this is the thing. Epic is so small compared to Steam.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason Epic gives away games for free is they are trying their damnedest to steal people away from Steam. I'm sorry, I'll tell this right now. People hate Epic, obviously not because of the whole Epic Apple stuff. They hate the Apple or Epic launcher
because it's
because the fact
isn't as good, right? Because I've only used Steam.
Yeah, there was all the problems at launch. There's all the things with it. Also, plus PC gamers don't like having to open 50 goddamn things to play games. That's why, for instance, people were saying just launch games on Steam. You don't need enough launchers.
If you're PlayStation, you would just say, fuck it, just go through Steam.
Yeah. And it's simply because you don't want to put a cap on how many people will buy your game. Because obviously PC players may be like, oh, dude, shit, I finally get to play The Last of Us. Okay. Why would they want to go to the why would they want to go to the Sony launcher?
Mm-hmm.
Why not just be like, I could just torrent the game. Boom. Promoting piracy on the podcast. Like, that's the thing people aren't realizing. There is no reason for them to make their own launcher. Because then guess what? You oversaturate the market. You put a cap on it. Kind of like what Epic did. Epic is trying to put their feet into too many things. And guess what? The Epic launcher sucks ass.
I'm still listening, by the way. I just had a little visitor pop his head in.
Oh, yeah, I know. But it's just,
I think, like, that was a thought I had, is, like, do you launch your own, which, like, I guess that's right. Like, I have Steam. I have not downloaded Epic because it's like, oh, I can just get what I want on Steam. Obviously, like, I can't, like, there's some Epic exclusive games that I can't get or on Steam, but, like, that's just the thing for me. Is that a route they go to keep the money sort of in-house. But Soapy, let's move on. Shorty But A Goodie. Buddy, are you here for Shorty But A Goodie? Do you want to stay for Shorty But A Goodie? I don't know if you guys can see.
He's a good boy, so.
Totally, this is Buddy. This is my guy. My golden retriever. You want to come up here? You want to show your face? No. He's like, no, I didn't know. I didn't know you were live. Yeah, I was gonna get him to jump up on my lap. So, Shorty But A Goodie. If you're new to the channel, these are kind of the short articles that we just want to give a little bit of love to that aren't too much. I'm going to intro this one, Soapy, then I'm going to have you take it because I got to then close my door because Buddy just barreled right through it like the juggernaut. That's how he got in here. But according to Polygon, Soapy, League of Legends' newest champion is, and I hope I'm saying this right, Samira?
It's probably Samira.
Samira, Samira. In a surprise reveal, Riot has debuted a brand new League of Legends champion named Samira. While most League of Legends champions get some kind of fanfare just before they're released, Samira only got some vague rose imagery appear before showing up out of the blue on League's public beta environment, where Riot tests the game's newest champions and changes. Samira's kit makes her a kind of hybrid character who can deal damage with ranged attacks or up close with separate melee attacks. Her Q ability even has separate effects for a ranged version and a melee version. Her most unique ability seems to be her Blade Whirl, which slashes enemies around her and destroys enemy missiles in the area. The ability, in theory, would destroy skill shots from most champions familiar to Fiora's.
Is this similar?
Similar. That's what I said, right?
You said familiar.
Familiar. Similar to Fiora's riposte. I'm not a League player, so I'm sorry if I fucked that up. While it's difficult to say exactly where Samira will feel most at home, her kit certainly seems similar to a few other top laners, so it's possible that will be her main role once she's released. Soapy, take it away, because it's been a train wreck on my part.
All right. I mean, do you want me to just read the rest of the article?
No, you can go ahead and give your thoughts. That's all I was going to read to, unless you think there was something like that was needed.
I mean, just kind of going over the stuff at the bottom of the kit.
Oh yeah, sure. Go over kit. Go over the kit. Give your thoughts.
All right. So, Samira's passive ability is known as a Daredevil Impulse. Samira builds a combo by hitting attacks or abilities unique form from the previous hit. Each one increases her style from E to S grading for a total of 6. Samira gains movement speed for each style grade. Samira's attacks in melee range deal additional magic damage and increase based on the target's missing health. Samira's attacks against enemies affected by immobilizing effects knock the target up for and deal damage over 6 several attacks. Samira dashes into range against targets slightly outside her attack range. You know, pretty spicy passive. You know, they definitely sound like they're really trying to encourage, like, this may be a character that, I don't know the terms for League of Legends, but like this may be sort of like a character that's meant to box. Like kind of like keep people from their wave.
I wonder, because I see him sitting in chat. I wonder how Dave is feeling. If Dave's like, I just want to jump in and correct them.
I mean, there's a very strong chance, since I tried to get an esport wet boy and I got shot down because he's a minor leaguer.
Hey, Dave gave a shout out today. I didn't know if you saw that. He gave an honorable mention to an e-boy today.
Hey man. You know, shout outs to Dave.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. You can continue with her kit.
No problem. Her Q ability is Flare. Samira fires a shot, dealing physical damage to the first enemy hit. If this ability is cast towards an enemy in melee range, Samira will instead slash with her sword, dealing physical damage. Either hit can critically strike for 25% bonus damage, and if cast during Wild Rush, Samira will strike all enemies in her path upon completion. Basically, kind of to relate this with a smite thing, because let me see to make sure that because I don't know exactly what Wild Rush is. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's one of her abilities. It probably would help if I used my brain and my eyes.
It's okay. Some of us got wrinkles, some of us don't.
Yeah, so it really be like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of relates a little bit, and obviously this ties more into my wheelhouse of like there are characters in Smite that kind of had abilities that it's like, oh, they do better when comboed with this because like for instance, Athena has a taunt and like an ability that basically when you stand inside of it when it goes off, it deals a metric fuck ton of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of sounds like it's like, oh, like this is like an augment ability that is affected by other augments as well. So sounds pretty good for people who
Yeah.
who are going to be playing this champion.
Mm-hmm.
Her W ability is a Blade Whirl. Samira slashes around here for 1 second, damaging enemies twice for physical damage each, and destroying any enemy missiles that enter the area. Basically, I feel like this is about to be the most troll ability I've ever heard of in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think missiles also count as enemies' basic attacks,
Maybe. I don't know.
to where you can deny them XP in lane.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, obviously that'd be something I have to
This
run
is
by Dave.
this is yours and Dave's wheelhouse, brah.
Well, I mean, this is more Dave's wheelhouse. This it's in the same genre, but this is definitely Dave's
you
wheelhouse.
play more MOBA games than I've ever played. I played a few games of Smite with you. That's about it. It's about all I've gone through.
All right, her E is Wild Rush. Samira dashes through an enemy or ally, slashing enemies she passes through and gaining attack speed. Killing an enemy champion refreshes this ability's cooldown. Yeah, this is like basically what the new god in Smite has, Tsukiyomi.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense of, with Tsukiyomi, he can basically almost always have his 1-up, which is like one of his ranged abilities. So this is going to be fun. Hope you have fun with this, Dave. I don't know what lane you play, Dave, but if it's top lane, have fun.
If it's top lane.
And I believe this is the final ability.
Mm-hmm.
Her R ability is Inferno Trigger. Samira can only use this ability if her current style rating is S. Samira unleashes a torrent of shots from her weapon, widely shooting all enemies surrounding her 10 times over 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Each shot dealing physical damage and applying lifesteal. Each shot can also critically strike. Basically, get fucked, nerd, is basically what I just heard from this ability.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, Dave, if you're watching, I hope you
out. Oh, he is.
Yeah?
He's in there.
Hope you're ready.
Yeah, I see, brave little toaster. But the next thing we'll go into, Shorty But Goodies. That was probably our longest Shorty, but it's still a goodie. This one from IGN, Adam Bankhurst. Ubisoft to remove raised black fist imagery from Tom Clancy's Elite Squad following controversy. Here, I'm just going to read the exact quote from Ubisoft. It says, imagery that appeared in the opening sequence of Tom Clancy's Elite Squad featuring a raised fist was insensitive and harmful in both its inclusion and how it was portrayed. We have listened to and appreciate the players and broader community who have pointed it out, and we apologize. This raised fist imagery will be removed in the next title update this Tuesday, September 1st on Android and as soon as possible on iOS. So in the Elite Squad intro video, the narrator, Umbra, this fictional terrorist group, as a new threat has emerged to take advantage of escalating civil unrest, it continues by calling them a faceless organization that wants to build a new world order. And Soapy, from this, there's a part of me that is like, I don't know how to feel about this. And obviously there's the side of, if your players didn't like it and the community was the community, I'm saying, hey, take it down, this isn't right, then that's one thing. Maybe it's because with me, it didn't hit like it would hit for someone else, because throughout my entire life, whenever there's been a resistance group in a game, whether it's been any color fists that they've used, usually that resistance group, its logo is like a fist in the air, because that's kind of like the symbol that you use for like resistance in my mind. But I can see how many might think that this doesn't land right just because of the political and social like climate that we are in today. we're basically seeing this and having it be a black fist kind of might compare this terrorist group to the protests that we see all over today. I'll ask you, what are your thoughts about this? Good move, bad move? Was it the only thing they had to do? What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's good press. It shows that they're listening to the community. Obviously, whether they find it offensive or not doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's because obviously, like with you, there's going to be people who kind of are just like, I don't know why you're removing this, but at least you're taking the reasonable approach of like, it may not offend me, but like that may offend some people out there, especially because right now with a lot of the stuff going on in the world, I'm gonna not try to bring it up by name because people don't need to constantly be reminded of it every single day when if you go on Twitter or anything, you hear about it all the time. But I think, at least just for the current moment, it's better to kind of stray away from being combative with people and just kind of being like, okay, we understand. We'll remove it from our game. And I think it's a good move, especially on Ubisoft's part. Especially because we kind of have already talked about how a lot of people at Ubisoft apparently are fucking creepy near the top of their board. So I feel this is basically, I don't want to say like the good press to kind of try to draw away from like hey, we have some creepy fucking board members.
It's just like you said, it's showing that if the community is coming out saying they don't like it, they're listening to their community. And they're saying, hey, we hear you. We want this gaming experience to be everything you want. The next thing, I put this on here, Soapy, just for you. Paper Mario Producers is from VGA, or VGC, sorry. Paper Mario Producer says it's undecided if series will continue to move away from its RPG origins. Rather than offering a return to the series' hardcore RPG roots, recently released Nintendo Switch game Paper Mario The Origami King more closely resembles the diverse 3DS or Wii U Paper Mario titles, with a strong focus on action and accessibility than stats and leveling screens. But whether Nintendo continues to apply this design approach to the future series installments is uncertain. Nintendo's Kensuke Tanabe told Eurogame Germany, when developing Paper Mario Sticker Star, one of our goals was to move away a bit from the traditional RPG style. Nintendo has another RPG series starring Mario, and we wanted to distance ourselves from it by making an adventure game with a focus on solving puzzles. Even though we're stuck to that decision so far, we haven't decided yet whether or not we will keep doing so in the future. Personally speaking, I want to keep developing Paper Mario games that are both innovative and unique. You're a Paper Mario fan, Soapy, so I want to ask you, should they go back to the RPG origins, or going away from it is not a bad thing for Paper Mario?
I mean, I wish they'd go back to more of the RPG origins, because that's what got me into Paper Mario. But once again, like, I hate to sound like I'm giving like a political answer to it, but like, I'm fine with whatever they do because it's Paper Mario.
Yeah.
Like, I've always had the stance of like, it almost feels like, how do I want to explain this? It almost feels like with Nintendo, it's like, even if they do something I don't like, I just kind of have this innate, like, it's Nintendo, I'll let them get away with it.
Yeah, and I mean, like we've talked about before, Nintendo kind of does their own thing.
Yeah.
Like, Nintendo is kind of just off on their own doing whatever they want.
Yeah. And especially because it's like, also since, like, I mean, there's probably have been bad Nintendo games. It's probably just I can't think of any of them right now. Like, I think we view Nintendo games as having such good quality to them that we're kind of just like, they haven't strayed us wrong so far. So it's basically let them keep making whatever decision they want to make.
Yeah.
And then once they finally fuck up, that's where we're like, okay, that's where you end it.
No, and like, that's something to where, like you said, I wonder how it's going to be. You said you got into it because of the RPG. How many people are going to say, nah, I'm not into this non-RPG thing anymore? Last thing for Shorty But A Goodie, though. this is from you, Soapy. So I'm going to let you kind of take the lead on this one. Dragon Ball Fighter Z threatens to permanently ban players who rage quit. Soapy, is this right or is this wrong? Should you ban people for rage quitting?
I mean, I think it's one of those things where the main reason when I put this one, and the reason why I put the is it right for them to do, was more or less of what if someone actually just has really bad internet and they actually disconnect,
Yeah.
and now they're banned for life. And if you sit there and say, "Oh well, all I did was disconnect," how are you going to prove that?
Yeah.
That's the only reason I don't like lifetime bans. Like obviously, if you rage quit in a fighting game, you suck at the game. You just need to fucking accept that.
I almost have the thought of like, so okay, if you said, well, I keep disconnecting, well then your internet's not good enough. Don't play online. Like, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. Like, don't play online then if you know your internet sucks.
Yeah, and it's something that they really like. I don't think fucking banning people for life is a good idea in an online game, because there are days people's internet's bad. Like for instance, imagine if MLB had it that like, oh, if you disconnect a certain amount of time, you're banned for life. That one day when your internet was bad, you would be banned forever.
Yeah, when my internet kept doing the little hiccups and it would be like disconnect from the. It still does that though, and I figured out it's not my internet, it's the servers, where it's like a little hiccup in the servers. But like, yeah, I don't think they should permaban for it. But yet again, I can see how it's frustrating when you have people rage quitting, because that's not the experience that you want to have. But how I would look at it is, if someone rage quits against me, awesome, I won. Yeah, I'm better than you. Fuck you, kind of a thing. But Soapy, last thing we're going to talk about today, and this is a little Fortnite and Epic Apple. Hope you didn't delete Fortnite or Infinity Blade, because Apple just terminated Epic's dev account. I'm just going to read the Apple statement. It says, "We are disappointed that we have had to terminate the Epic's game account on the App Store. We have worked with the team at Epic Games for many years on their launches and releases. The court recommended that Epic comply with the App Store guidelines while their case moves forward. Guidelines they've followed for the past decade until they created this situation. Epic has refused. Instead, they repeatedly submit Fortnite updates designed to violate the guidelines of the App Store. This is not fair to all other developers on the App Store, and is putting customers in the middle of their fight. We hope that we can work together again in the future, but unfortunately, that is not possible at this time." Tim Sweeney had some tweets, as I'm sure you know, Soapy. One of them,
I brought him up last night.
Let's see. One of them is basically he put, Apple's statement isn't Fortnite. They chose to terminate Epic's account. They didn't have to. Apple suggests we spammed the App Store review process. That's not true. Epic submitted 3 Fortnite builds, 2 bug fix updates, and the Season 4 update with this note. He also said, while waiting for Apple to hashtag free Fortnite on iOS and Mac, here's another awesome Battle Royale game powered by Unreal Engine. And it was a quote to an App Store tweet of PUBG is coming to the App Store. So for me, Soapy, of course, the PUBG one I kind of see as like, the only reason I see Tim Sweeney making that tweet is just a sense of like, well, hey, I'm playing nice. This isn't just a Fortnite thing. But I know you have thoughts on this. I know you do. I'm not going to keep the people waiting. Soapy, what are your thoughts on the Epic Apple update for today?
This is the biggest goddamn power move Apple has ever pulled in my entire fucking lifetime. Dude, like, imagine...
It feels bad that you got to talk so good about Apple all the time, right?
Dude, it does!
Because you hate Apple.
Yeah, I do hate Apple. But, like, imagine the fucking power move. And, like, you know how much confidence you have to have that in the middle of a court case, you just fucking shut them completely out of the App Store.
Mm-hmm.
You know how confident you must be that you're going to win this court case that you're just like, fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this is some Chad energy I just got from a corporation. I didn't expect to see this.
You know what? It's exactly what Apple should do, because now, like, before it was like, oh, you could still play Fortnite on your phone. Now it's like, well, fuck it. I better not delete it. I better not even get a new phone. Like, that's even the thing here is like, okay, someone's going to correct me and be like, well, they can transfer your apps over. But like, how many people don't do that? And then it's going to be like, great, I can't play Fortnite now. Thanks, Epic. Like, this is something to where I can't believe. I wonder what is going on in the Epic studios right now, or the Epic headquarters, of like, what's our next move? Because Apple just completely cut off a section of their fan base to where it's like, oh, you thought you were going to make money off of these people while this is going on? Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. We're cutting off this part, to where now they can't even make the money off of Apple users at all.
Yeah, and like you were saying, dude, I'd love to be a fly in that office room. Like, dude, I'd fucking love it.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because then I could probably see Tim Sweeney looking like a big baby. But that's besides the point. My absolute hatred for Tim Sweeney is going to just end there.
Did you always hate Tim Sweeney, or did it just come from this?
It's just come from this.
Okay.
And it all stems back to the whole, I hate that corporations try to act like they're helping the little guy.
Yeah, the high and mighty route.
Yeah.
You're not a fan of the high and mighty route?
No. Just admit you're doing it for your own money.
Mm-hmm.
But, my God, dude. I mean, dude, fuck. Maybe I'm going to just have this newfound respect for Apple for the rest of my life. To just actually just pull this fucking big dick energy move of just like, oh, we're confident enough that, like, even if you bring this up in court, we'll just be like, okay, whoop-de, we'll just do it again.
Yeah. No, I can't believe they did it. And I can't, like, this is now adding, like, if I was on Twitter, the kid eating the popcorn. Like, I can't wait to see what happens next, because we have about a month until the next court ruling.
Yep. Because it's on, what, the 28th?
Yep, September 28th. That's the countdown. The two important things this month is September 15th is the xCloud. xCloud for Xbox is coming out. So we'll see how that goes, even though they have their own little thing with Apple because of that. But then the 28th, we have the ruling for Epic versus Apple, round 2.
God, dude, I can't wait.
Oh, like, there's also going to be more stories until then, so don't get tired of talking about this yet.
I mean, I already am tired of talking about it, but like, dude, if there's just going to be more fucking power moves like this going on, dude, it's like a fucking fight. Yeah. You know, it starts off slow, and it's just like, okay, this is getting fucking annoying. Now the haymakers are coming in.
Yeah. But that is going to do it for MVP Games Live today. Thank you guys for checking out the show like you always do. Make sure to follow that Discord down below, or if you're in Twitch, put !Discord into the Twitch chat. That is how you get the link to be a part of the Discord channel. Make sure to also check out patreon.com/MVPvids. It's how you help support the channel. Thank you to our producers, Philly, Sean, and Pat Hill. And don't forget, if you ever miss a show, it's on YouTube, MVP Entertainment. We do the show. If you're on YouTube right now, we do the show every Monday through Friday. And we're live here on Twitch TV /MVPvids. To answer this guy right now, no MLB show stream tonight. Dave and I will be streaming Avengers tonight because Avengers drops the early access for it. Dave and I have it, so we will be streaming some juicy Avengers-ness around 11 p.m. Central Time when we're allowed to play the game, because that's when it goes live. So it will be Avengers tonight, this guy, not MLB. Also, still a stream, still a way to watch MVP vids. But thank you guys for watching. Soapy and I will be back tomorrow. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Bye.